Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Conservative Review, for hosting this great event for the presidentials. It's hard to follow Matt Kibbe, but I'm going to give you the three pillars that I ran on, a foundation for the greatest country on earth, the United States of America. And I'm going to give you 6 quick points, and I'm going to get out of here. And so for an economics professor of 20 years to keep it to 5 minutes, that's going to be a challenge. All right, so the utter foundation for Western Civ and for what made this country great, number one is the Judeo-Christian tradition. No need to be apologetic about that. When the Speaker of the House looks out from that chair in the Congress, what's the biggest bust they see right in front of them? Moses. Moses represents the law. Anybody believe in discipline and the law anymore in this country? Yeah. Might want to point out that the most important event in the Hebrew Scriptures is called the Exodus. God led the Hebrews out from a corrupt king into the promised land. And when God gives someone a land, does the land have borders? Yes. It's amazing how that works, isn't it? It's in the news today a little bit. So very interesting. And so then we get up to the Judeo-Christian part, and Jesus comes along with love and compassion. Did that come out of just anywhere? Or did that come out of the Judeo-Christian tradition only? Yes, Rome was as corrupt as it comes. And into Rome comes Jesus, love and compassion. And within 300 years, you have the Holy Roman Empire, and Jesus beats cold, sterile Rome every day. Are you with me? After Rome comes pillar number 2. Pillar number 2 is the rule of law, starting with the Magna Carta. Human rights language starts about the 1400s. I'm a professor, so I know that kind of stuff. Then we get up to our famous philosophers, Locke, Jefferson, Madison, from my district in Virginia. My district was at it a year ago, making waves. The whole country's making huge waves this year with the presidential. It's great news. And Madison, just so you know, went to Princeton Theological Seminary, where I went. And when he was done, roughly speaking, college in New Jersey, but when he was done with undergrad, guess what he stuck around and studied just for kicks? Hebrew. You think that's an accident? So the guy who writes the Constitution of the United States studies Hebrew for kicks. So that worldview informs the writing of our Constitution. And in the Judeo-Christian tradition, are we all angels or are we fallen a little bit? In the good book, how long does it take us to go bad? 1 chapter, Genesis 1. You with me? Right? So if you know human nature is fallen, how do you set up a government? Do you set it up with the judiciary and the legislative and then the executive and the separation of powers? Would that be a smart thing to do? Just in case, by some quirk in history, you run into a president that does executive overreach on a daily basis. Are you with me? And we've lost track of that constitutional framework, and Mark Levin and Michelle are phenomenal on that. Michelle, I just read her book on illegal immigration amnesty. Fantastic book. The third pillar comes about right in there, 1776, with who? Adam Smith and free markets. All of human history, people made $500 a year for all of human history in every country on earth until about 1700. And then you get a hockey stick with a massive economic growth. What caused that? Freedom and free markets, and that's it. And we own that moral story, right? Luckily, when I started teaching economics 20 years ago, China was only making $1,000 a year per person. Now China is making $9,000 a year per person. Same with India. So 2.5 billion people on this planet, all children of God, have had the most massive increase in human welfare known to man. Did government make that happen, or did the rejection of government and free markets make that happen? Free markets. I'm probably already bumping up against 5 minutes, but here we go. I got 18 seconds to give you 6 points I ran on in Virginia. Adherence to the free market system, equality under the law for every single person, because we're all made in God's image, fiscal responsibility. This year under Republican leadership, we're increasing the deficit by $105 billion. Deficits will be $1 trillion a year by 2026. The debt right now is $19 trillion. It'll be $30 trillion in a decade. And we have this little number called $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. If you don't know what that is, go look it up and spread it around the country, because it's the number one major economic problem this country has right now. What does it mean to you? In a nutshell, it means that in 11 years, and this is all CBO, right? This isn't Dave Brat on some crazy economic blog page, right? This is CBO, Congressional Budget Office. In 11 years, all federal revenues will go only to the mandatory spending programs and entitlements. There will not be $1 left for the national defense, transportation, education, or running the government in 11 years. Number 4, adherence to the Constitution. You're going to hear plenty on that tonight. Number 5, peace is best preserved through a strong national defense. Our current president won the Nobel Peace Prize prematurely, it appears. Do you see liberty breaking out all over the world? No. So the theory there was, if you downgrade the United States and bring us down a notch, the whole world will thrive. How has that worked out? It's terrible. From China to Russia to Iran to ISIS to North Korea, everywhere you look is a disaster. And finally, in closing, getting back to where I opened, and this is all the Republican creed of Virginia that I'm citing, these 6 points. And it's really just the American creed. And so finally, faith in God, as recognized by our founders, is absolutely essential for strong moral fiber. And everyone on this stage and everyone in this audience, God bless you all for showing up here tonight and doing the hard work to keep liberty and to keep free markets and to keep the rule of law and to keep the Judeo-Christian tradition moving strongly ahead. God bless you all. Thank you for having me. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.